Hello and welcome to Adam's Music Box, where today is something of a sad day because someone who was iconic, someone who was a trailblazer, someone who was innovative, someone who was classic, understated cool has left us. And this, of course, is Mike Ratledge, pictured behind me, who died earlier this week. Now, Mike Ratledge was one of the original co-founders of one of my favorite bands, Soft Machine, and he was with them on all of their truly classic albums during their original run. And through that period, the band changed a lot. They began as sort of an arty, sort of art rock, somewhat psychedelic rock band, but within a few years, they sort of settled on a sort of avant-garde, virtually fully improvisational sort of European style jazz combo. And what made them unique is that even when they went incredibly improvisational, they were always great at writing riffs, which sort of held all of the compositions together. These really recognizable, really grooving, really rocking riffs, for which Mike is responsible for many of them. Now, the very sound of Soft Machine, certainly across the first four or five albums, was of the Lowrey organ and Hohner pianette and sometimes clavinet that Mike Ratledge would play. And this gave the keyboard sound of the band a very biting, almost percussive sound. Now, as the band evolved, it became a bit less sort of improvisational and industrial, sort of proto-industrial, I guess you could call it, and metallic, and more in keeping with the kind of virtuosic transatlantic jazz fusion that was becoming incredibly popular as the 70s wore on. So many great musicians came and left the band during Mike's tenure, including the wonderful saxophonist Elton Dean, the great bass player Hugh Hopper, the drummer, composer, and brass player Robert Wyatt, and then later the great drummer John Marshall. Carl Jenkins then came into the band in around 1973, who went on to become a well-known neoclassical composer. All of the Soft Machine albums are quite different. The way back original ones were this sort of psychedelia one. Then the numbered albums one through four are this sort of traditional improvisational stuff. The albums are numbered, hence I'm calling them by the numbers. Five, six, and seven were in this transition period when they were still had one foot in this ultra improvised sort of very European sound, but moving somewhat closer to the transatlantic sound. Now, one of the most interesting albums of all came in 1975, and this was called Bundles. And this is because for the first time there was a full-time guitar player in the band, and this was Alan Holdsworth. Wonderful album, great sort of traditional fusion, but still very much in keeping with that great Soft Machine mentality of, riffing like no other, and then obviously doing the great improvisation between the riffs. And Mike Rathledge played an important part on that album, even though some were saying he was being sidelined in the album. Listen to how good the music is, and I think that you'll disagree. By 1976 Softs, though, he was taking somewhat of a backseat, but he continued to collaborate with many of the people that he met through Soft Machine, including Elton Dean. He even played with Syd Barrett earlier in the 70s. A real interesting musician. He was someone that just sort of effortlessly did what he did. He had that unique Mike Ratledge sound that no one really could duplicate. It was so unique that I don't know that anyone even tried. A true original who will be truly missed. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.